All right, very good morning, and we're glad you're still with us. We hope those cups of coffee are fully replenished for a Tech Note discussion, an update on the state of roads and rehabilitation projects across Kampala Capital City Authority. Now, this is a part of a citywide infrastructural development or improvement program. The program seeks to meet government's long-term development strategy as outlined in Vision 2040 and should increase and improve the quality of infrastructure stock to foster transformation of the economy from low income to a more competitive upper middle income status. It's aimed at tackling congestion in the capital of the Pearl of Africa through improvement of the entire road network. The network in Kampala, however, seems deteriorated increasingly, and we are seeking an update on what exactly is going on and also some answers on some questions that could be being asked by the people out there. Some very controversial, but apparently, as I've made to understand, some could be as a result of aspects that are totally misunderstood. Are they? We are here with the spokesperson of Kampala Capital City Authority, Simon Kasiate. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm great. Always a pleasure to be here.
We're also joined by Honorable Ronald Balimwezo, the Member of Parliament for Nakawa East and member of the Committee on Physical Infrastructure in Parliament. Many thanks for joining us, Honorable.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'll give you the first
morning to you viewers.
I'll give you the first take on this, being a member of the Committee on Physical Infrastructure in our National Assembly. A quick one on what should be an overview of what is happening within the city before the spokesperson can get us underway on updates.
But most importantly, I'm also the chairperson of the City Roads Committee.
City Roads Committee.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
One, Kampala has a network of 2,110 kilometers of roads. And 654 kilometers are paved. But even the paved, 70% has outlived the design life.
Okay.
And the unfortunate bit, we do not have a robust maintenance program for our roads. We first wait when the road gets deteriorated, then we think about maintenance, which is a very bad habit. Roads in Kampala are greatly affected by water. And why? Because many of our people have constructed the waterways. The greatest enemy of a road is water. And that's the reason when we are designing roads, we design them for a specific amount of water, moisture content. So whenever a road, whenever it rains and we get such floods, roads get submerged and the integrity of the road basically lowers. As I speak, Kampala is now a construction site because of the numerous projects going on. One, we have the ADB that you have been speaking about.
That's right. Which
was about 288 million US, and in that we had we are supposed to have the scope was that we are going to construct 69 kilometers of paved roads, both dual and single carriageway. And eventually, because it had a component of also eco-friendly buses, the president said, no, let us have tarmac in that. And that's the reason that we are going to also work on the Chitezi Road, which is in a sorry state. But we also increased some other kilometers. I think the design and the procurement is going on for those that we added on, including Kira Road that passes via our former NUP offices, then Bukoto, Ntinda.
Just old Kira Road.
Yes, yeah. Bukoto, Ntinda. Then from Ntinda to Chisasi. That's an addition. But we also had roadside markets, because what we know that the majority of our people work on road reserves, and we need a clean, vibrant city. Therefore, we have roadside markets that we are going to construct, so that we can
accommodate
those with clean workspaces. But also we have another project, the one for the signalized junction in the city. That is a grant from from Japan under JICA. It's ongoing. They began from Spear Road. You have seen Spear Road roundabout being worked on. Then in Nakawa Junction. So we have about 27 junctions going to be constructed. Majority of the roundabouts and those other junctions that don't function well are going to be signalized under that program. But also under the ADB we have more roundabouts. So altogether we are going to have 550 roundabouts. I mean 60 signalized junctions going to be worked on.
Okay.
Then we also have the UNRA, which is rehabilitating the Kampala Ginger Road. From Spear, you will see that that stretch to Band and so on up to Ginger is being worked on.
Yeah.
When you come to, then we have also the maintenance, the routine and periodic maintenance of roads in the city under the URF. So far we have received 5 billion that is supposed to do the patching of potholes, section repairs, and works are going on. The CBD has been assigned to SFC through a directive from President Museveni. And we are still questioning that. Who is going to monitor them? Who is going to audit them? And two, how can you get vehicles belonging to KCC and you give them to a contractor who has taken big sums of money, who should have competed with the other contractors, but he has been given that incentive?
All right, Honorable.
We also, I want also to update you
very quickly
on some of these roads that are being worked on under ADB. We have
perhaps let me just interject here and hold you in your tracks. We shall have time to go into the nitty-gritty of what is being overhauled, what is being rehabilitated, what's being constructed, what's being maintained. But of course you have some specific questions that you've raised. On top of updating us on exactly what is going on across the city, the spokesperson can also answer those questions. Over to you, Simon Kasiat.
Which questions are?
He asked questions including why are contractors using, for example, equipment and is it cars specifically?
Yes, cars.
It doesn't involve equipment of KCCA.
He said that is a situation that we are examining, if you quote him correctly. And examine, he means we're not going to come and discuss internal matters in the studio of KCCA or of NTV. He, as the chairperson of the building committee, a member of parliament, knows how we discuss these things internally and the platforms on which we discuss.
But
and Honorable, you said it. You are examining
I said it. Maybe you misunderstood me.
So he raised
this is an issue.
He raised the concern
that the public needs to know. You have a contract, you give someone a contract, and at the same time you give him vehicles, and yet you don't have vehicles for your own departments
to do your own
works.
How does
and then again you give a contractor who is not experienced in road construction, and that's the reason that we have failed to work on the CBD, and we are getting insults from people simply because SFC that has no experience in road infrastructure development has been assigned a duty to work on our roads, particularly in the CBD.
The MOU with SFC.
And I have told you clearly
that
Honorable Barimwezo, the chairperson of the City Roads Committee, knows fully well the platform and fora where these questions can be asked and answers given to him, for him then to return here and inform his public. I, as a spokesperson of KCCA, cannot insult my honorable member of parliament.
No. I was not part of awarding those.
Right here.
I wasn't part of.
But I invite him respectfully that he's very much interested in finding this information. He knows our address. Please be our guest.
Okay, now that the Honorable MP has perhaps mistakenly thrown this into public domain, we shall take it on, because that's fundamentally our role as journalists.
Absolutely. But for me, as
we have a situation that could be affecting rollout of service delivery.
Absolutely.
Construction.
No, listen, I invite you as a journalist to do your work. I would never stand between you and good journalism. You know that. But I also would want you to appreciate that do not in any way, get a professional and ask him to mistakenly discuss an issue when he shouldn't.
Interesting that you insist on fora for discussion of some matters, but KCCA's job is entirely public.
This is public
There is
information.
nothing that should be discussed or classified nature with KCCA. Is there anything?
But of course, do you have minutes of our top executive management meeting?
No, let me. Let's note, for example.
Do you, for example, have minutes of the SEC?
What you're suggesting?
But we have time to discuss roads.
Yeah,
and
we are
going to
discussing
discuss
roads,
other contractors.
updates on what
Why
is
not
happening.
SFC?
You know, SFC is part of the system now, and it's doing construction. You are suggesting that since KCCA has sat down within the corridors of City Hall and discussed certain matters, it is not incumbent upon the public to know
wait a minute.
what is going on.
Did I hear Honorable right when he said SFC came into the picture as a directive from His Excellency the President?
He alluded to that. He alluded to that.
According to
But
KCCA.
you can educate us on what is the
According to
understanding.
KCCA.
What is the
I
relationship?
don't listen. If, and I want to believe that the Honorable is right, that SFC is as is from a directive from the President. Why am I here? I'm not the spokesperson of the presidency.
No, Simon Kasiate,
am I?
you are attempting a futile diversion.
Why?
The matters we are discussing here are public, in the public domain. KCCA has been seen, or rather, let me be very specific, the executive director has been seen apparently reaching an understanding with SFC on construction of certain sections of the city roads. Why can't you speak about that as spokesperson? What is the memorandum of understanding between SFC and KCCA before you update us on exactly what the road rollout, construction, maintenance, and
that I will do
is?
perfectly well.
Please.
Update you on the road rollout and all that. To discuss the contents of our memorandum of understanding between KCCA and SFC is one of the things I request, respectfully, that I don't discuss this morning. And those reasons are best known to me. I think I have a right not to disclose them. Don't I? You preach freedom of expression.
I know.
You speak freedom of speech. I have chosen, and I request humbly, that I do not discuss particularly that element. I would discuss every other thing under the sun.
You'll be setting a wrong precedent for public relations officers and spokespersons of government institutions.
I would be glad to be a trailblazer in that element.
Okay.
I feel flattered.
Because the public now needs to understand perhaps the relationship between those two could be delaying or diverting funds.
And indeed.
Chris.
And indeed.
And he's an MP, he represents a constituency.
One of the things I can't be pushed into discussing is a subject matter for one where I have no prior preparation or for other reasons.
It's now understandable.
You didn't tell me that I was going to discuss SFC.
The good spokesperson for the Kampala Capital City Authority is not prepared to talk about matters SFC and KCCA. Let's stick and KCCA.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's stick to road rehabilitation projects.
Thank you.
Apparently, all right. First, update us. What are we maintaining? What are we overhauling? What are we rehabilitating? What are we constructing?
We have 3 tiers through which we work on our roads. The first tier is what we call, routine maintenance, which is done on roads that are facing situations of scattered potholes in different areas that are not intense. And that's usually done by our in-house team of engineers that are spread across our 5 divisions. So that's when you see us go to prepare the potholes, cut them into shapes, rectangles, triangles, trapezia, then fill them up with maram, compact, and later have asphalt over them. Then we have, and that we've been doing extensively. If I may give you a list of, I just showed you pictures here complete with GPS locations. I wish we could share them to the viewers. Then we have what we call section repairs. So you have a road whose section for about maybe 100 meters has so many potholes, you cannot repair one pothole at a time. So what you do, you scarify, as the engineers call it. You clear out that section, say 50 meters to 100 meters, and rework it. Examples are that's what we did on Balintuma Road. You know what we are doing right outside Kampala Parents School. You see what we are doing on Lower Kororo Terrace and other places similar to that. Now that's usually done by local contractors that we have on framework contract. Then for rehabilitation or complete overhaul, These are roads whose, as Honorable did mention, some roads have gone past their sell-by date.
Yeah.
So we are reconstructing them either back to their original setting or increasing their scope and expanding their size. For example, you will see like Port Bay Road or Old Port Bay Road and Spring Road. This is a road that's been there for ages. So what we're doing, we are reconstructing it. We are going to expand it into a dual carriageway and going to signalize all the junctions therein. So we turn it anew. Now, that reconstruction is usually done through international bidding, where we have big international companies coming in, hence the presence of foreign companies working on our roads. Now, the current projects that we are working on at the moment is, as Honorable Alimwezo did inform you, the Kampala City Roads Rehabilitation Project that is seeing over 70 kilometers of road network from 33 roads that we're doing, and we began in February of this year. We are now in around month 8 of what should be 36 months on average. So we are having a situation that Honorable Mwezo did describe to you, that Kampala is now one huge construction site. We are having a lot of diversions, we are having a lot of destruction, we are having too much dust whenever it shines, but all that is part of the preparation to give you good boulevards. And we are working tirelessly. I'll give an example. Over the weekend, with one of the contractors, we were to close a section from Port Bay Road into Mbuya, and the anticipated time of the work was between 3 to 5 days. But at the same time, Uganda Railways Corporation is also making a railway crossing around Wangoko. They also closed the entire Wangoko. It's closed as I speak right now. To show how committed our contractors are, we were with them over the weekend and implored them to ensure that we work day and night so that this closed section to Mbuya is open. And I'm happy to inform you that as of last evening, that section was worked on. We turned around what should otherwise have been 72 hours of work into less than 24 hours of work. That is how committed we are in delivering good infrastructure to our citizens, but with the minimum disruption.
Okay. Honorable, you sit on the Committee for Physical Infrastructure. It's more the oversight for agencies, including KCCA. And sometimes there have been questions about delays or the time frame within which some projects are done. Others are completed, others are not. But when a project is not completed, it affects the use of the facilities that were completed in another project. And many times the wear and tear is also kind of put into quicker motion. I do not know whether you are simply monitoring what interventions have been put in place, especially to ensure that projects are finished on time, because it does affect other projects if one is not finished on time.
Yeah, for starters, I want to inform the viewers that we have consultants on these projects. We have contractors that are supposed to execute with the guidance from the consultants in accordance to the designs. So we have a team of consultants that is supposed to do their role. But at the same time, we have the client, who is KCCA. Okay, KCCA has project managers that are supposed to see that these projects are done within time. In case the contractor fails, he will pay for the damages. And we as a parliament, we have also made sure that we oversee some of these works. Recently, we had a 2 days site visits to these roads that are being constructed. And we realized that indeed, some of these projects have delayed. For instance, at the time we visited, Port Bay Road should have been at 36% progress. Yeah. But it was at a mere 7%. So you can see the delays, and we put pressure on them to make sure that they do complete this project. But they also said we have challenges. They had challenges of relocation of utility services. Some of the service providers could not do it on time. For instance, the NITA and others. So we have reasons for delays, but some of them are predicted and others are not predicted before. But we are trying to put pressure as people mandated to do oversight role.
Okay. Yeah. Simon, the completion of projects usually is often down to financing. I do not want to imagine that it could be down to either the ability or rather competence of a contractor to do the job. Often financing comes to the core as the lead factor, where a contractor can say perhaps the money that we anticipated would do this job has overshot and we need to rethink, and then by the time they come back to KCCA, the client, then KCCA is also undergoing or facing some difficulties in financing. What are the compromise areas that you do agree on to either move it faster, or if you realize that perhaps this is not going to be completed on time, what is the new plan that comes forth? Because it's confusing when you see KCCA on the same road time and again, and then you're wondering, okay, when is this going to be done? But the reality is that money could be either short or completely unavailable. What is the state of financing? Do we need more money, and how much is it?
For the current projects, as we've enumerated, the KCRP financed by African Development Bank, that is a clear indication that financing is available. $288 million already there assured. On all these other projects, the issue, I would say, really, is not so much as financing. There are many other issues that lead to the delay of project completion. These include, we are constructing and rehabilitating roads in an active and buzzing city, where we are working and you are also using the same streets. So diversions, you know, working in a delicate situation where you have traffic, and of course we do not have that interesting connection of diversions and alternative routes. So we are working when you're now, some places will require you to, or some people have argued, why don't you work at night? And you want a beautiful road, yes. You know that you would need such an amount of electricity to give you daylight light at night. But also, we also know that this city doesn't sleep in the night. We've had situations, unfortunately, a young couple perished on a railway crossing at 3 a.m. knocked by a train. And everyone was saying, but what are trains doing in the night? Not long ago, you know, a young man who came driving on Acacia and just went through that roundabout, killing several people in his wake. We've had situations where our own contractors have been knocked and killed by motorists in the night. So safety for our workers is also very much important. Thirdly, the right of way. You have a road, and folks along that road evidently deny you right of way, or deny right of way for drainage. I'm not going to go into the specifics of where and where, but you know that you've been in places where a road should have, you know, this width, and to get
that's the road reserve.
That's a road reserve, and people are in the road reserve.
And they've adamantly said
they just
no to KCCA?
They say no.
Aren't there laws that allow you to prevail?
For gazetted road reserves, it's
without a doubt, there are laws. We have
because you really can't be frustrated by a certain gentleman out there who might not even know exactly what he's up to, that it is illegal to reject.
I want you, because don't talk about KCCA like it's a building, it's people.
It's an institution.
The day you are driving on your right path, and another car comes driving the opposite direction facing you, you stand in their way, block them, come out, and even tell him he's doing the wrong thing. Do that once. Come back and tell the story here. That's when you'll understand that certain things will be done, and you ask yourself whether some jobs are worth dying for. So there will be a situation where use of force, which we have as KCCA, is always our last resort. We first engage, we have conversations. But these engagements are time wasting, are time consuming. So a project is supposed to be progressing, but you engage in closed conversations. Do you, for example, know why our contractors have not mobilized in the industrial area? 5th Street, 6th Street, 7th Street, and 8th Street. That place looks like a potato garden. But for everyone in industrial area, they are gazetted drainage points. Many of them, because those roads have not been worked off in a long time, many of them built over the drainage posts. So now we are coming to ask them to break so that we can get access to have the drainage fixed first before we can work on the road. And guess what? We have had to have long negotiations with them because it's colossal sums of money that they have put in, although they were doing an illegality. But you have to engage with them. They also ask for periods of grace. Then you have to make a work plan. Okay, let's move in this sequence. Which
when that fails, who fails KCCA at that point? You've negotiated with these people, but they've not met their end of the bargain, and KCCA has to work. Who do you go to at that point?
Believe you me, we will use all avenues available to ensure that work
Are you
is not
suggesting
stopped.
those avenues have failed KCCA?
No, I told you we move in sequence and we follow a sequence. We have not exhausted our options.
Okay.
But to exhaust our options, that's time constraining. That's why some of the projects delay.
Honorable, the spokesperson has just lamented something that is very fundamental. The inability of an agency to act on its mandate as a result of what could be, aspects including perception of people, because they've spent so much money in doing an illegality. They want compensation, but that compensation might not be forthcoming, or, as he says, negotiations are going on. You are a legislator.
Yeah.
What are the laws to help KCCA do its job? Because at the end of the day, no one knows that KCCA is being failed by a developer who illegally built on a reserve, but is adamant to do the right thing.
This same TV station, many years ago, came and spent time lambasting KCCA for high-handedness. When KCCA went to evict people residing on a reserve in Luzira, in his own constituency.
They should have criticized.
And guess what? Because I was seated in that same chair where you are,
okay.
I was part of the lambasting crew. You understand?
Yeah.
Why? Because the masses there, rather than heed KCCA, KCCA had negotiated with them, KCCA had given them eviction notices, KCCA had gone backwards and bent and delayed that exercise for over 12 months. And the day KCCA came to enforce, those people came and attacked KCCA officials, one of whom, an armed guard, shot in self-defense to disperse the crowd. Oh, KCCA, Murisa Manye, we found every single word to blast KCCA. For doing what? Its mandate. We know that hardly will we ever be praised for doing something that we are supposed to do that puts you ordinary folks out of your own comfort zone. You are asking for pedestrian walkways along the roads. But is those pedestrian walkways where your brothers and sisters are going to be roasting chapatis from? That is where the motorbike repair workshops are going to be set up. If you doubt me, go on Kevina Road in Katwe. To remove someone who has put up a stall to make Rolex from a pedestrian walkway is when now you say KCCA is brutalizing people. And like I told you, by the time we use some force, it's always as a last resort.
That is down to creation of spaces where such vendors or operators can be able to go to as an option.
That is it. You know, it's the role of KCCA to make strategies and have programs to help the people. One time there was, I think during this
quickly, Honorable, you have to answer us on the aspect of legislation to help KCCA do its job.
During the tenure of Jennifer Musi, they wanted to evict all those vendors working along roads. And we said, look, you have a role of organizing for these people. Why don't you first create decent workspaces for these people before you chase them away? Because these are some of the people that are going to become thugs and begin bringing insecurity within the area. So it's always important that as we do that, let us organize for our people.
But I think for us, I think KCCA has opened up markets.
Have you been to Busega?
Across
lately?
Not lately.
We have a state of the market, state of the art market.
Where?
In Busega.
How many people is it going to accommodate?
Thank you. But none of the vendors by the roadside
is willing
to come inside. The same Honorable Badimwezo here knows of what we are building in Chitintari as a market. But none of those people on the roadside in Chintari who are causing a traffic gridlock right there.
Let me first answer
that. It is important to work on mindset change. One thing
it is important.
Mindset change cannot win votes.
I was a resident of one
area. Here knows the right thing. When we are speaking
let me tell you
one-on-one as gentlemen in boardrooms,
that's right.
is the most reasonable person you can ever
and I am
until the cameras come on and you ask yourself, is this the same one I was having a conversation with?
Let me tell you this.
Mindsets change cannot win votes.
Is critical.
When he's there in the market of Chinawataka.
No, mindset is clear and very critical, and that's the reason that we had thought maybe the PDM was going to address that. But even the PDM has not addressed that. You're giving people money.
We are still, the government is still rolling that out.
No, but what do you
let's be very specific.
Do you give people money then change their mindset, or you do change their mindset then give them money?
I remember the reluctance that was showcased by vendors when Usafi was opened. They had all their questions about why they don't want to go to Usafi. I was in Wandegea for more than 20 years, and when the market was constructed, I saw what was the previous structure like. And then the vendors kind of shunned the new market, and their reasons were sometimes amusing. Somebody says, this thing is too clean.
And the design.
Somebody says the thing is too clean. So
the
you can
design
agree.
Was contemporary.
You can agree that some vendors,
a traditional design.
A traditional design.
They need to see a very good pineapple, attract them, then go and buy.
So why do you talk about mindset change?
Or they want to see the signpost, sweet pineapples in this market,
not the
and then go looking for them.
Not the signpost.
Why do I
when you go out there in those countries, developed countries,
may not necessarily be most appropriate if it's going to start with the ordinary folks.
Okay.
Mindset change
should begin with
people like Honorable Ademwezo, because clearly with this kind of mindset, he cannot change the mindset of the vendors.
No.
I don't think he can.
All right. And in any way, you don't all of a sudden change the mindset. It is gradual.
All right,
gradual.
Allow me give the last word to the spokesperson of KCCA. First and foremost, I would be very categorical here. The city residents need assurance. They also need confidence that things are happening and are happening in a way that will be sustainable. So, I don't know. You're the best at it. Tell them.
Assurance we always give them. Hey, by the way, Chris, you know that we won an award on sustainable development as KCCA.
I saw something in the papers. Congratulations on KCCA and
beyond what you see as the state of roads.
Yeah.
We are doing incredibly well in other elements of service delivery.
Okay.
We are in education. We are in healthcare and pandemic. And guess what? We are also in the running for another prestigious award for an initiative that is groundbreaking. You know what our initiative is? Chris, whenever it rained, as it does now, the biggest worry was not the state of roads. It was cholera. You remember?
Cholera, yeah. We haven't had that in a long time.
At time, there's open air defecation, flying toilets and all that. It just did not disappear. No. KCCA went out and brought an innovation that revolutionized fecal sludge management in this city. Okay. That today we are managing over 70% of our fecal sludge, which is people having breakfast. I don't want to go into the details.
That's a good one.
Now, when you have revolutionized healthcare, and that's what the ED keeps talking about, that we will leverage technology, infrastructure for people's well-being. And that is what people should take away from this conversation this morning, that Kampala, morphing into the smart city that we want it to be. We may have challenges with regard to our current set of infrastructure, which we are working on.
That's right.
But we are going to leverage technology so that you don't have to carry bands of papers and all that to come to KCCA to have your building plan approved.
That's a plan.
You use technology.
Exactly.
You do this on the palm of your hands.
Okay.
We leverage technology, infrastructure for people's well-being so that you don't have epidemics breaking out in Kampala. When epidemics break out in the rest of the country, like Ebola did, you know that Kampala is a safe haven because there are modalities and specificities that KCCA is working on to safeguard people's lives.
All right. Thank you very much, Simon Kasiate, spokesperson for Kampala Capital City Authority. Thanks to you too, Honorable Ronald Balimwezo, MP for.
You mean the program is over?
It's over.
We just